Could the Menendez brothers be freed very soon? Well, according to the district attorney, he's asking for a resentencing of the brothers. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your #1 source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So a lot of you have been asking me to cover the Menendez brothers story because, as you know, with the new series that came out from Ryan Murphy and now with the family speaking out asking for the two brothers to be freed based off of new evidence, I'm not completely surprised that the district attorney is considering resentencing. Well, according to NBC News, they said Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon on Thursday said that he will seek resentencing for Lyle and Erik Menendez in their parents' murder, paving the way for their potential release from prison after decades. He said that he would file the paperwork Friday that recommends that life without the possibility of parole be removed in the brothers' case and that the brothers are resentenced. A judge will make the ultimate decision. Gascon says that because the men were younger than 26 years old when they killed their parents, they would be eligible for parole immediately if a judge follows his resentencing recommendation. The DA's recommendation for resentencing was not universally backed, he said. He says in a quote, "There are people in the office that strongly believe that the Menendez brothers should stay in prison the rest of their life and that they do not believe that they were And there are people in the office that strongly believe that they should be released immediately and that they were in fact molested." And that seems to be the consensus on social media as well when it comes to the Menendez brothers, especially for those that sort of grew up learning about the story, living through the story. So he added, "I believe that they paid their debt to society." Joseph Lyle Menendez and Erik Menendez fatally shot their parents' entertainment company executive Jose Menendez and Kitty Menendez, which shot in their Beverly Hills home in 1989. The brothers were 21 and 18 years old at the time. Defense attorneys for the brothers argued that they were SA'd by their father, and after 2 trials, they were convicted of murder and sentenced to life without parole. The DA's announcement comes 3 weeks after Gascon said that his office was reviewing the case and would consider if they should be resentenced. Gascon, who's seeking re-election next month. See, these are important details to mention because sometimes a lot of people will do these things if it means that they will be able to garner public favor and be re-elected. So Gascon, who is seeking re-election next month, said that we have a moral and ethical obligation to review what has been presented to us. The evidence provided to Gascon's office included a photocopy of a letter from one of the brothers to another family member that alleged SA. Defense attorneys also provided evidence that one of the members of the Menudo boy band alleged that he was also SA'd by Jose Menendez, Gascon said. Roy Rossello, a member of the pop group from 1983 to 1986, said on 2023 Peacock series Menendez plus Menudo, Boys Betrayed, that he was R'd by Jose Menendez, who was then an executive at RCA. Lyle and Erik Menendez alleged SA by their father at their first trial. That trial resulted in a mistrial after the juries were deadlocked. At the brothers' second trial, the abuse allegations were limited in the court. The brothers were convicted in 1996 of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. And this is important to note because I know recently R. Kelly's daughter came out and said that she was abused by R. Kelly, which should not be surprising when you hear that R. Kelly has done this to other younger girls. So why wouldn't he do this to his own girl? Something to think about. So if this boy band member is claiming that this was done by the Menendez father, why wouldn't he do that to his own boys? Lyle Menendez is now 56 years old, while Erik Menendez is now 53. They filed petitions on both habeas grounds and also seeking a resentencing. Habeas petition argues that if certain evidence had been presented at trial, the outcome might have been different. Because remember what we just mentioned to you, in the first trial, they mentioned being SA'd by their father. In the second trial, because the first trial ended up in a mistrial, in the second trial, they limited how much of that was shared, which would affect the outcome. California law also allows a prosecutor to evaluate whether a person has been rehabilitated, then ask a court to determine if the individual should be resentenced. Prosecutors had accused the brothers of killing their parents to inherit a fortune. Milton Anderson, brother of Kitty Menendez, opposes any early release for the brothers, his attorney said in a letter to Gasson. Mr. Anderson is opposed to any resentencing and objects to any concession of the habeas claims. Look, family members have lost a family member, so it's understandable they're going to have a feeling. But when you think about the fortune, whatever happened to the fortune? Where did that fortune end up going to? And is that the motivation behind people wanting these two to stay behind bars? Because them coming out from prison, would now they be able to stake a claim on the fortune? Maybe not. Erik and Lyle Menendez motive was pure greed, Caddy wrote in a letter sent October 14th. But 20 people, including members of the Menendez family, gathered last week outside the Clara Shortridge Foltz Criminal Justice Center in downtown Los Angeles and rallied in support for the brothers' release from prison. I saw the video footage of them reading letters in support of the two being released. Relatives launched a petition for their freedom and argued justice has been served because they spent more than 35 years behind bars. The brothers were victimized by society and a judicial system that decades ago didn't understand or have the capacity for the compassion in case of boys and young men who are sexually abused, family members said. Their continued incarceration serves no facilitative purpose. It's time to recognize that the injustice they've suffered and allowed them the second chance they deserve, said Ana Maria Baralt, niece of Jose Menendez. If Lyle and Kyle's case were heard today with the understanding we now have about abuse and PTSD, there is no doubt in my mind that their sentencing would have been very different. That's something to think about. Because now when we look back at a lot of the behavior, I literally was just watching a very cringy interview. He used to be the head of the Jay Leno band. I can't think of his name. An interview that he did with Whitney Houston and just how overly flirtatious and disgusting he was. And I said to myself, like, why was this ever acceptable? But a lot of behavior, if you go back and look from the 80s, 90s, 70s, 60s, you're like, we thought that was okay. We didn't cringe. We weren't uncomfortable. And with the wokeness of today, and I know some people like to slam the wokeness of today, but the wokeness of today is saving lives. It's allowing people to get the help that they need, as opposed to just sitting in jail and rotting. Joan Anderson van der Molen, sister of Kitty Menendez, said that she struggled to come to terms with the slayings, but as more and more information came to light about the brothers' alleged abuse at the hands of their father, she said their actions were, quote, desperate response of two boys trying to survive his cruelty. They were just children who could have been protected and were instead brutalized in the most horrific ways, she said. Lyle and Erik have already paid a heavy price. They have grown, they have changed, and they have become better men despite everything that they've been through. It's time to give them the opportunity to live the rest of their lives free from the shadow of their past. Well, it looks like they would at least have a good system of family if they were to be released. And I can't even imagine, because they've been in prison the majority of their lives. That's the whole other conversation on rehabilitation versus prison reform and all of that. But I can't imagine what their lives would be like coming out of prison after spending decades in prison. But as always, guys, I want to know your reaction to this, because I know some of us grew up following this story or hearing about this story. What do you think should happen in this case? Do you believe that the brothers have served their time and should be freed, or should they continue to rot in jail? Let's continue this conversation there. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.
You bring the lighter, I got the fuel.